Hey, it's Berta.
And I'm Lisa.
And welcome to Two Takes Later, the podcast where two nostalgic millennials deep dive into your favorite shows, movies, and all things pop culture.
Because we're on a mission to rehash our old favorites, obsess over new discoveries, and basically never shut up about how they made us feel.
We're talking the scenes that made us ugly cry, the ones that had us throwing popcorn at the TV, and the moments we still can't get over.
So grab your snacks, grab your feelings, and get ready for a whole lot of opinions you didn't ask for, but are definitely gonna love.
Two takes later, because one take just isn't enough.
New episodes every week, wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, welcome.
Welcome! Oh, I'm so excited.
Me too.
I'm so excited.
So we kind of just gave a little clue about what we're going to be, our first little foray into our podcast is going to be.
Honestly, I hear that song. I have no idea what that could be. What could it be?
I also do not know.
No? Let's look at the box and see what it says on it.
It says winter is coming.
I know what that means. That means
Game of Thrones.
Yay! I love Game of Thrones.
I love it and I also hate it. And that's part of the reason that I felt like this needs to be the first thing that we kind of
100% loved it.
Yeah.
Gloated about it. Told everyone, you need to watch it. And now I don't regret it. It was a great show, but I still do not have closure.
Exactly. And that's why I think that's what we're doing. We're sort of just working through all of the feelings, the good, the bad. At the end of everything, I still can't believe that Game of Thrones was this super popular cultural phenomenon, and then it just dropped off. I need to process it.
I know.
Thank you for going on this journey with me.
I'm so glad we're going on this journey.
Everybody forgot about it, but not me.
Never.
I didn't. I've not gotten over it. I'm still mad. I'm mad about it.
Yes, my husband is so angry.
He's a special guest
in the future. In the future. And you actually went on to, what's the Game of Thrones spinoff? House of Dragons.
I did. I watched the first episode, or the first season.
Okay.
And it's solid. It's decent.
Yeah, my husband won't let us watch it because he's still wounded.
But it's different showrunners. I don't watch anything that the showrunners did from Game of Thrones. So that's my little
that's how you get into, giving yourself that approval,
That's how I get.
No, I get it. And now I feel like, but Luke he won't have it.
Well, and I get it. And so that's kind of we both love all things pop culture and movies, but this was I just feel like this is a really good TV series to start to talk about.
Yeah.
I think it's important. We're doing really important work.
It's very important work. And honestly, this show has touched the lives of so many people. It's absurd.
Well, it really is. I mean, if you think about it, Game of Thrones shaped pop culture. As we know, any fantasy thing that you watch now has been influenced by Game of Thrones.
Yes, absolutely.
And the way, we can get into this later on in future episodes, but even just the way that the seasons were set up was unique.
Yeah.
So even, there are a lot of previous seasons that came before this, or a lot of other shows, they had a certain formula.
Right.
Game of Thrones completely...
Oh my gosh. You like main characters?
No.
Don't watch Game of Thrones.
They subverted...
They'll die. Everyone. I can't.
They subverted it.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I was shocked. The first one that died.
Oh, don't get... No spoilers, Lisa.
No spoilers. You're going to ride along this whole journey.
We are going to have some spoilers.
Yeah.
I think most people pretty much know what happens, right? But we are going to try to withhold...
Well, we're just going to try to do this chronologically. We can't be jumping forward and back,
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll spill that tea when we get there.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I just want to be clear. We're going to shit on this show a little bit. Okay, I want to be clear that we are going to do that a little bit.
I mean, it's going to happen.
But I want this to be sort of like a love letter of the good and the bad to this show that influenced so much, and that we sort of all really, I don't care what... even if you don't want to admit it, right? You liked this at one point. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody liked this show at one point.
It's very true. And what I like what you just said there about the good and the bad is this isn't just like social media that people put out like, oh, family picture. But actually before you got there, you had to like beat your kids. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
You know, we're laying it all out.
Yeah.
All of it. Not just the good. We're really bringing it to the table.
Yeah. Get ready for some hot takes.
Yeah. Hot takes. So let's jump in. Wait.
Well,
I think we need to talk about something special.
So we do have we're gonna do a little something special in every episode. We're gonna have a cheese of the week. So a cheese of the sode.
Cheese of the sode. I love that.
Cheese of the sode, if you will.
So
Lisa, do you want to tell us a little bit about this? Do you want to tell us a little bit about the
cheese of the sode? I will. You know, we're just cheese lovers here as well as Game of Thrones lovers, and there's no shame in that. I don't know anyone who doesn't like cheese in some form. Melty, gooey,
I do know
solid.
people who don't like cheese. But
I feel like it's the end of Game of Thrones.
People
it hurts.
I can't be around them.
No,
but yeah.
I can't be friends with them. Well, anyway, today's cheese of the sode is Clover Creek cheese from the Clover Creek cheese cellar, and we're having bruschetta, not like with T's but with D's, because it's cheddar cheese with additional ingredients. Got it at Martin's, you know, and we're actually dedicating this cheese
to
bruschetta to our sound engineer, Bruce Sheddig. And I feel like there was no better intro.
I don't think you need to say any more about it.
I think we need to try the cheese.
I think it's self-explanatory.
Yeah, and you have such a great cutting knife for this cheese. I can't wait. Let me hear your takes on the cheese. How's it taste?
So Clover Creek is really good. I've liked their stuff before.
I don't know that I've ever had Clover
They have a
Creek.
nice tang.
Yes, they do.
And it's like cheddary. It's definitely got that tangy cheddar bite.
I can't say
Their
it's my
seasoning.
fave.
You don't like it?
You know, no, I don't. I don't like it.
You know what this is? This is really metaphorical this is a metaphor for our journey with Game of Thrones. It's good. It's bad.
Yeah, there's going to be things that I like that you didn't, and vice versa. And this week,
I really
it's
like
the cheese.
I think it's good.
I'm so glad. I'll leave it here for you. I'll leave it for you. So Good job. I'm going to go ahead and take a swig of my drink, just kind of get that flavor.
Well, I'm glad I didn't choose the one that you hate. Mine, I'll be.
No, I bought it. Yeah, I got it. So
yeah.
But I'm ready. I'm ready for next week's cheese.
Well, I think we're ready to just jump right into it.
Let's jump in. Let's jump in.
And here's our pause. All right, guys. So let's just jump right in. Episode 1, Season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Seems like yesterday.
No, it does not.
You don't think?
No.
I don't think it's been that. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. 2011?
I feel like things have changed so much. Just in every aspect of like life and in every aspect of like TV shows now. I mean, I feel, but I know it doesn't. So it doesn't feel dated. I will say.
Oh, absolutely not.
So this episode aired in 2011, correct?
Yeah.
So a little bit of time has passed. We've been through some stuff, right? So this is it's a cold open. I loved the cold open with the gates lifting up.
I legitimately did not remember any episode that didn't start with that epic theme song.
It is later. The theme song happens.
Yes, it does.
But I
just was like, I'm ready to go, and here I am thinking I'm like 20 minutes into the episode because it was. Here we got characters riding, and I'm like, what? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
They're riding. It's atmospheric. It's spooky. It looks cold.
It does. It looks like winter. It could be,
does. You know. It looks very wintry.
They come from the wall, the epic wall.
Yep.
That is going to be like super important this whole show.
I mean, they play it like it's going to be important, and it is.
It is. It is. But like, I don't know. This starts and I'm like, okay, first of all, I didn't even remember this, how it started. I don't know why they're riding after the wall. And then I was like, oh yes, the wildlings.
Yes.
Completely.
So he comes upon the camp.
Yes.
And here in my notes, I have legs and arms all over the camp.
So I put, because when they show from the top, the shape of the bodies, it was in some
It's in a symbol, and I don't think that symbol ever comes back. I mean, I don't remember. I guess we'll get to it. But I don't think that symbol comes back.
I think we're going to need, if anyone knows what that symbol is, send us a message, because we want to know what that symbol is that those bodies are in.
I don't know if it maybe is in the book. I did read all the books, but I don't remember that. I don't remember. It's just been so long. I do feel like I blocked it out, so it's like I'm seeing this with
we're
new
starting
eyes.
over. Yeah.
And then there's always, so I did remember, so anytime there's these situations in TV shows where people are investigating creepy stuff, there's always one that's like, what are you, a scaredy cat?
Yeah, right. Some dickhead that you know is gonna die. There's always one.
That's like, get on your horse. Keep going.
So mean. By the way,
so there is one guy that does that.
I just want everyone to know that Berta here is a genius with any kind of accent, impression, and I am not. So if there's any type of voice that just sounds like it's from the show, it's Berta. It's not me. I just want to make sure
I volunteer as tribute.
Yes. Oh, wait, wrong series. Let's get back to Game of Thrones.
But yeah, this scene is great. It's a great setup as an audience. We feel the stakes. You know, it's a cool scene. It's a really interesting and well, you know, the one guy who's like freaked out, and then he sees the stuff going on, and he comes back. Oh, where is everybody? The campground's gone, or the campground is gone, right? And then it just fades to black, and we get our intro song.
Right.
So cool. Great.
You have no idea what happened to any. Well,
I remember thinking like this is a you know, a fantasy series. I thought there was going to be, I don't know, I guess we didn't know dragons were going to be there yet, but, you know, I guess we sort of didn't know a whole lot about this as a culture before this came out.
Right.
But I was not expecting that.
No.
You know, it was pretty creepy. You know, guys with the blue, glowy yellow eye, glowy blue eyes.
So why did they let that one guy go? I am curious on that, because, like, they easily could have killed him, and it's not like he showed up back at the Night's Watch saying
something.
But I don't think he said something like, "He sent me to tell you."
No, he didn't.
You know what I mean?
That. There is something about. So I'm blanking on it, but they do have a discussion like, why did he deserted, or why did they? Why did he? Why is he the only one?
No matter what, though, he's considered a deserter. Listen, I'm sorry, but like, I'm looking out for me.
You can't be in the Night's Watch.
Okay.
You can't.
Damn it.
You can't be in the Night's
Watch.
Watch.
I was actually really hoping that my next career choice would be a member of the Night's Watch.
I would never want to. That would be the worst.
Either. I know. It would be horrible.
All of these, that's maybe the worst one.
Probably. Yeah.
But Ramin Djawadi, the composer for all the music, is great. It really throughout the entire season is just perfect. The music is you can shit on the show, but the music
not the music. And honestly, I feel like there are such geniuses that make this music that have to know what's coming, because they interweave, you know, emotion into it that you wouldn't necessarily feel in that scene, but down the road, okay, now I understand with this character.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean all the family, the Stark music. I can't even. Yeah, there's the Stark music that plays whenever there's anything to do with, like, even Sansa later on when she's.
Let's not talk. Let's just wait. Stay in our lane here.
It's really nice. It is really good. And whenever it's first started, I sort of got a little bit emotional. It was like took me back to 2011, and it just was really cool to be swept up in the world of Game of Thrones again.
No, I agree completely.
And I made in some of my notes here, like, this intro to Winterfell is really great setup. Like, you get to see everybody, what everyone's doing. Arya not really liking the knitting.
Yeah. That's not
Sansa
her calling.
being good at it.
Right.
Bran learning. And everyone's smiling. So that's one thing that's different. I feel like this is the first episode.
It's like a false hope for
people
you,
smile.
Right.
And like nobody smiles later. Like there's a lot. Well, there is smiling, but there's a lot less.
And it's not like
smiles.
genuine smiles. They're like snarky or
little fingered.
Yeah.
Doing like his creepo smile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we get our first Ned. Winter is coming.
Okay, but wait, before we get to Ned, let's just talk about, and I just wrote dude because I don't even know his name, who announced that there was a deserter, had his beard in a ponytail.
That's Karstark.
Karstark, thank you.
I'm pretty sure that's Karstark.
But like, what fashion choice was that?
Is that your fashion of the week?
That's my fashion of the week because...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Do I want my fashion to be a good thing? Because I do not think that was a good decision.
Oh, you didn't like it? I think it's part of it was maybe to make sure we see it. I think it was so it's memorable so that later, because
when I say
he plays
with the beard,
big part later to the story.
But then later when I see him, but it was like he had sideburns, not even like the full beard. It was like sideburns that grew down, and then he had it in a ponytail under his chin, and I was like,
oh, I liked it.
Oh, no.
I like that guy. He's cool.
No, I mean, I wasn't a fan.
If I could have a beard like that, that's what I would choose. Okay.
All right. That's fair. I'd still be your friend. I just wouldn't necessarily like it. Is the problem. But, whatever. Anyway, okay, so now we meet...
But, okay, so yeah, we see Ned, and he decapitates the deserter. And it kind of shows us the type of bloke that he is, Shows us he's a man of honor. Doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter who. He's all about the law, baby.
Listen, he made this quote. I wrote the quote. The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
Yes.
And I wrote next to that, damn. Because that is...
It's a good line.
It is, I mean, not necessarily just about, like, murdering, but, like, what a powerful sentiment to be like...
Oh,
you
the writing, the lines.
Can't just be in charge of people and not be responsible for those consequences. Like, I have goosebumps.
And that comes up later. There's other parts later where being a man of honor requires you to do some pretty, it requires you to pass the sentence and swing the sword later.
And I think that's important because there are people who have no problem passing the sentence, but they don't want to deal with what that means to swing the sword, and that's why I think it's so powerful. But
I guess we shouldn't get into spoilers, but I guess the big question of that in this whole series is, does being an honorable person help you win the Game of Thrones?
It does not.
It does not.
It doesn't. I mean, we don't have to say who.
No.
We don't have to say how. Let's just say that.
It's just a question. Dire wolves.
Okay.
The dire wolves. Oh.
Listen, at this scene, I completely forgot about Rickon. I had to Google the Stark children because Jon finds 5 dire wolves. And who was it with them? Was it Arya? Was Arya there? Or
no.
was it Bran who said, but what he says, 5 dire wolves for the Starks. And whoever says this to him says, what about you? And I was like, well, he's number 5. And he was like, no, I don't need one. And then I was real confused.
So Jon says that. Jon
is the one who says, I found these, and that makes sense for the 5 children.
Right. Yes.
But then someone says to Jon, well, what about you? Like, you're also a son of Ned Stark. Why wouldn't you get one? And he's like, no. And then I was like, wait, I thought Jon was the 5th. And that's when I had to Google. I forgot Rickon.
So I do not count things in movies or TV.
Oh, okay. That's where we differ because I count everything.
I did not look at amounts. I just was along for the ride.
Yeah.
And I thought that I thought that was like pretty gross. The dire wolf was like covered in it looked really
it was a bit gory. It was pretty gory for what it was.
Yes. But there's definitely some symbology there, right?
Tell me the symbology.
Well, it's a dire wolf and it got skewered by a stag, right?
Is that what it was? The stag?
And
yes.
so there's direwolves, and there's the stag is
who
the
might
Baratheon.
be right? Who might be on the flags of the houses?
Baratheon,
House Baratheon,
which is coming up.
It's coming up.
The Baratheons
They're
are
on
riding.
They're coming.
Right? We find out Jon Arryn is dead.
He died of an illness.
We don't know that he was poisoned yet.
Right.
We find that out by Catelyn a little bit later on in the episode.
In the same episode,
she
yes.
gets a raven, and it's from her sister Lysa in the Eyrie. Telling
to
her,
explain, Lysa is Jon's wife.
Jon Arryn's wife.
Right.
Yes. And he
So-
was the Hand of the King. So we've got a Hand of the King that's dead, y'all. And so Robert
Yeah.
is riding with everybody,
Yeah.
the whole family
The
in
whole
tow.
fam and extras.
And
the whole fam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To Winterfell.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pappy Bruce.
Thanks, Pappy Bruce.
I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, they're all well. Okay, so first we have Jon Arryn's funeral, where
Yes.
we meet Jaime and Cersei Lannister. I mean, we don't know who they are right then,
Right.
but we get a quick glimpse of that, and then all of a sudden we find out that the Baratheons are on the way.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, which is a big deal. He's the king, and he's coming to Little Winterfell, who is considered. There are underdogs, really.
Yeah.
I would say they're the good guys.
Yes,
they're the good guys.
They're the ones who try
We
to
love
play
the
the Game of
Starks.
Thrones by being
Yes.
good people, and they're not just
does
malicious.
not.
Yeah, I get it.
It
Yeah,
doesn't always work out.
No.
But it's love that for them.
yeah. I mean, we love a good plot twist.
I just want to say though that these moments that we get with the characters are really nice. Like there's this one part where they're just like a bunch of hunks with their shirts off getting their hair cut. And
Oh, yes.
and they're just
getting
like,
shaved
They're
for the-
talking and
Uh-huh.
it's just really wholesome and cute and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that scene. Everybody looks happy. Theon is doing fine.
Theon is a normal character at
Theon
this point.
isn't insane or
Yeah.
stupid.
Now, let's just not just say that that's. I mean, stuff happens to make him that way, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but before that, he makes some really dumb decisions. Well, let's not get
yeah,
into it.
Yeah, we got to
But
do
yes.
this one at a time. Okay,
Yes.
so
let's get back to Robert Baratheon.
yeah, Baratheon.
Great character, great lines, so fun. He's
a
so,
jovial-
So back when this aired, everybody called him Bobby B. Okay, that's what like Reddit called him.
Really?
Bobby B.
Okay.
And there would just be Bobby B memes.
Okay.
About Robert Baratheon and his awesome lines.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but now I'm gonna have to look into
Well,
this.
you probably had a life.
Well, actually, okay. So in April of 2011, I had a daughter who was not quite one. So,
Oh my God.
and a husband who worked second shift. So, like, I didn't really get to do anything except, care for my child.
I was watching Game of Thrones and looking at Bobby B memes.
But now that my kids are older, I will absolutely be investigating these.
Yeah, well, we're going to be getting into some really good lines. I mean, they're so good. Later on, he has one about grabbing the breastplate stretcher, and it's great. And I can't wait to get to it. I can't wait to get to that with all of you.
So I love, because it is
take a
king
drink
of,
of my wine.
Go ahead, take your drink. He is the king of all 7 kingdoms.
Yes.
But he is such a jovial person, and he is personal friends with Ned Stark.
Yes.
So he gets there. It seems like he's, putting Ned in his place, and then all of a sudden they smile, they hug,
Yeah, it's
and then they go
great.
down to the crypt together, and you realize they
Yes.
really have
They have a
a
background.
relationship. Yes,
The
a
show does a
backstory.
really good job. This is where Game of Thrones was really good at character setup. It was really good at dialogue. It did a lot of showing, not telling. So
Right.
it didn't need to, like, there was dialogue there that sets things up and makes us as the audience understand what's happening and understand that these people have a background. But there's also a lot of not so obvious things that we just see as their friendship. And
Yes.
we can just tell that they're friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree
And
with you.
I do think that they are great with character background, character development, without wasting time.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah. You weren't getting, at this point in the season, especially this first season, the first episode, at this point in the season.
We're like 30 minutes into the show.
I feel like they did their use of time, I agree with you. The use of time was good, but I feel like later on, there was a lot of like, all right, well, when are they going to resolve this plot point? This is sort of not what I want to be watching right now at this point in the season. Yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
As far as like pacing. But I mean, it's the first season really, there's not a whole lot that you can complain about that way. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that way.
I agree with you.
That way.
The first season's pretty good. It's
is.
solid. It's great. I really don't have a whole lot. I mean, there's a reason it became a huge pop culture phenomenon, and that George R.R. Martin didn't do anything else. I mean, I guess he did do a lot of other stuff, but not finish books. I think this just like became too big for him.
Which is so, I mean, honestly, and I know this is like way ahead, and I'm not going to give anything away, but my question is, do you think that Benioff and Weiss ruined the opportunity for George Martin to finish? Or do you think that the fact that he hadn't finished left the liberty and that changed the whole story, like the way the story should have wrapped up? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like had this been, so like, for instance, right now I'm watching The Witcher. And I know that that's based off of books, but I think the books are done. So like, you can create that series based on all of the information. And I think what went wrong with Game of Thrones is they didn't have that information of what was going to happen.
And you can tell when season 5 rolls around, that's whenever it outpaced the books. And so they didn't have the books to go off of. And you can tell that it's a different, it feels different.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. But I don't know. That's a good question. We can think about it. I feel like that's what a lot of people have been discussing over.
If any of those people are listening, just let us know. Just let us know.
We're just trying to understand.
Yeah.
So Danny and her brother, he's a major creep.
Oh my God. I hate him.
Yeah. I mean, he's hateable. Right from the get-go.
Right from the start.
You're like, this is a bad
villain.
guy.
Yeah.
He's super creepy.
Yeah.
Danny does not fear the heat.
But
she's fine in the hot water. A little foreshadowing.
Back up a little bit. She is the most timid. Like, when I'm watching this, knowing how she develops, when I see her, I'm like, this meek little timid thing, I would not, I just,
Well,
I
Emilia
love that
Clarke is phenomenal.
She's phenomenal.
As Daenerys.
Did you know she
great.
wasn't the first choice as Daenerys?
I did hear that. I don't know who the first
Nor
choice
do
was.
I. But I think they had to refilm the first episode because of the change. Because
she was
somebody
great.
cast.
I love her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Love Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
Love
She's
it.
perfect.
Yeah.
She's got the great brows. Her brows are amazing.
Yeah.
Her eyebrows.
I love a good eyebrow.
Me too. So that brings me to my favorite fashion of the episode, the little purple number that Illyrio gifts Danny to be presented to Drogo.
Oh, yes.
Was, I think, it was gorgeous.
It
Beautiful.
was.
I loved it.
And I know, like, obviously her hair wasn't real, but, like, they did such a good job with her hair as well, which I loved. That would be my top fashion of the week. Obviously, I was not a fan of Beard Man. And the other atrocious one was Cersei Lannister's hair in this episode during the feast.
I know,
it was horrible.
It was a little much. I agree with you. Yeah. They don't do that anymore. And they don't do, I don't think they have her hair like that anymore.
Cersei's hair, atrocious.
I mean, if you think about it, this was a pilot. So this was different. Like, they probably had some different styling for this episode. And I agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
Okay, let's go back.
Snake gifts at the Dothraki wedding.
Okay, and then guys start fighting.
A bucket of snakes.
Yeah, I wouldn't
as a
invite
wedding
them
gift
to my wedding.
And she's like, I don't know if I like that.
Right?
And they're like, you don't like these snakes in this bucket? These hissing snakes at you?
Why not?
What kind of weirdo
Right?
doesn't like snakes
Right?
for her wedding?
And then people are brawling and murdering people. And she's like,
other
wait a
things.
second, is this
She's like, I don't know if I like this family
right?
I'm marrying into.
And the one guy's like, I wrote that down too. Dothraki wedding without 3 deaths
I wrote
is
that
a
down
dull
too.
affair.
I wrote that down too. Best line of the episode.
Best
line of the episode.
Hands down.
And I also have here basting some meat parts in blood. There's a part where it's just it's like this is this is the equivalent of the Pittsburgh cookie table, but it's a plate of meat parts.
Yep.
And they're just basting it in blood with flies.
Meat parts.
Here's some meat parts.
I love that. I love that. Meat parts.
Delicious meat porks.
Meat parts. Let's just keep saying meat parts.
But I love Illyrio has the best line, and I don't, he's a fun character. I like him in the books. He's a fun character. He doesn't do a whole lot, in the grand scheme of things in the TV show, but he's a cool character. In the books. We end with the reveal that Jaime and Cersei are lovers. Ew.
Twins and lovers.
It's gross.
But how do we find this out? Tell me how we find out.
Well, Bran is a climber.
What?
They set it up the entire episode.
The whole episode.
Catelyn's always like, don't climb, Bran.
Not allowed.
Don't do that. And then he does it, of course. And he gets up there and he sees things he shouldn't see.
But
and then Jaime.
I just don't get, do you really think he knew what he was seeing? Because I feel like he seems so young. Like, I mean, they were both still pretty much dressed.
I really
so
don't.
it wasn't like they were nude.
I wouldn't leave it to Cersei to wonder about child development.
Well, I guess that's true.
I wouldn't.
Okay. And she's like, Jaime, we've got to do something. He's going to tell.
I heard you the first time.
Okay?
Yeah.
That was Berta, guys. That was Berta's. Excellent.
Yes.
And so what happens?
Pushes Bran out and says the line. Well, first he says, the things I do for love.
Yeah.
Pushes her out the window.
Out the window, down the tower, lands on the ground.
Cut to black. That's it, guys. That is the end.
Wait, one thing we forgot.
What?
We got to rewind a little bit. Tyrion.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about...
We didn't talk about Tyrion.
We get Tyrion. Again, his hair is different than the rest of the season. They have him in, like, a blonde...
it wasn't a good look.
It doesn't look... It doesn't fit. They forget about that later.
But, like, now we know that there's a third Lannister who has some... According to everybody, has something wrong with him.
People loved him. When this came out, people loved... And this was the first... I mean, so Peter Dinklage had been in other things, but this was his big break. I mean, really, Peter Dinklage.
I didn't even know he was in Elf. I watched Elf 100 times. Then I watched Game of Thrones. Then I watched Elf again, and I was like, holy shit. Wouldn't have known.
Wait, did Elf come out before this? Before Game of Thrones?
I think so. I don't know, but like I just didn't know who he was. Like he was just this character in Elf. And then I grew to love this guy over 8 years.
Was 2003. So
oh my God. That's pre-graduation.
Throw up.
That's pre-graduation.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So like Peter Dinklage.
He blew up after this. He was the fan favorite for the most. Him and Arya are probably the fan favorites.
Yeah, I would agree.
We're gonna get into their stories. Really go.
They really develop. I mean, you kind of know from this first episode that Arya is not the girly girl type. She would prefer to be shooting and like you know that. But you meet Tyrion and he's this drunk man whore who, and he just becomes so much more. And I think
it's great character development.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. We see the characters grow. We see their motivations change. Mm-hmm. We see it's just really great.
Yeah.
And it becomes like a game. I really like later on in later episodes, at the beginning, those the opening credits change and you get to a little heads up into what's going to be
where are we going to be
in
today.
The episode.
Right.
It's so fun. It's a little game piece or a game
fun.
board. It's really fun. 2.2 million viewers during its premiere watched this TV show live.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the season, it was at 3.2 $0 million for the for season 1 finale, and then it just takes off.
It takes off.
Yeah.
It becomes the cultural phenomenon
Yes.
of the decade.
Ah,
Yes.
I love it.
And we're here to break it down.
Yeah, we
we're
are.
here to work through our feelings.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's it for this week.
That is it.
And we're going to be
Thank you guys
back.
for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
this
listening.
was fun. You know, this is really just a cathartic way for me to get my my unresolved
This is
trauma.
like free therapy.
Yeah.
You know, just talking about it, me and you, hashing it out, and we just feel good. Now, next week we'll go to episode 2. You know, we'll
Yes.
see. I know that you've been like really watching ahead. I'm trying not to because I don't want to say something that I shouldn't. I don't want to give away something that I
Right.
shouldn't. And
Yeah.
so it's just
Well,
like starting over.
We got it. We got this.
We got this. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week.
Next week.
Season 2, Sode 2.